This is Georgetown, the podcast. Georgetown County and the city. Georgetown is growing, changing, expanding, and blossoming. The Hammock Coast of South Carolina. It's a renaissance. This is Georgetown, the podcast. Here's your host, Scott Richards.
Welcome back, Georgetown, the podcast. It is all about Georgetown, the city, the county, and the renaissance that is happening in Georgetown. I am Scott Richards, and we are on location at the Maritime Museum, which is on Front Street in Georgetown. It's one of the golden jewels of the East Coast. For people that are not familiar, we want to get you to come and visit. Al Joseph is with us, City of Georgetown, the director, Main Street director. Main Street is Front Street. Is that, if I've got that right?
You do, Scott. Main Street is actually a national organization. There's also, each state has a Main Street, so Main Street, South Carolina. And then each city within the state can be a Main Street organization. So it does create a little bit of confusion. We don't have a Main Street. Our Main Street is Front Street. Main Street's the name of the national organization, but Front Street is our core commercial district.
And you're in charge of Front Street, the Main Street, in terms of promoting and developing and encouraging. Is that describing it? Or maybe you should describe it instead of me.
No, that's pretty close. It's actually not just Front Street. It's the entire historic business district of Georgetown, which runs roughly 9 or 10 blocks long and then 4 blocks from Front Street out to Highway 17. About 121 businesses under that umbrella. So that's really my umbrella of responsibility. But if it's going on in the city limits of Georgetown, it's something I'm interested in. It doesn't have to be within those boundaries.
So let's talk about Main Street, the business district, and Front Street. Compared to a year ago or 5 years ago, what has happened?
A renaissance. 5 years ago, we probably had, 25% empty storefronts on Front Street in our historic business district. Right now, I've got 2. We are seeing businesses that close or relocate for whatever reason. We don't keep empty storefronts in Georgetown any longer. As soon as they're empty, there is someone interested and someone in there turning it around to be whatever the next iteration is. The coolest thing about our business district is the variety. There's so many different shops and boutiques and stores and restaurants and museums and tours and things that can be done in a relatively small area within this business district. But the biggest thing is the people that want to be here and own businesses and run businesses in Georgetown.
Al, your family goes back a few years. How many years?
Turn of the century, late 1800s.
Right. There was a bit of a golden era long ago, and I'm not sure I'm going to get it right, but maybe in the 60s, where Front Street was vibrant. I know there was a radio station here and big department stores. And then it wasn't for a while. And now it is again. Talk about that transition, and you called it right, a renaissance of what it's gone through.
It really is. It's been up and down. And you see that in different places, so it's not all that unusual. But yes, in the 60s, my family came here in the late 1800s. I was born right here in Georgetown. Now, I left for 30 years, and then I came back, and I've been back for 14 years. And every time I say those words and I add the numbers together, I realize I'm getting old. But yes, there was a downturn. There were empty storefronts. There was nothing going on in the city of Georgetown, and that has done a 180-degree turn in the last 5 to 7 years. Maybe you can go back 10, but I would say 5 to 7 years, where we have events going on all over the city, and especially here in the business district. Music concerts, food, beer, and wine festivals, art festivals. Again, storefronts are full. We have very few empty businesses. There's an energy and a vibrancy in Georgetown right now that we haven't seen for a long time.
Talk about some of these events and festivals, because you've mentioned it, but I'm much more aware of some of these events that are happening. Now, this time of the year, it's a little early in the year, but talk about some of the big events. Just as an example, we talk about the Wooden Boat Show that was back in the fall, I think it is. And I know a number of people from the Myrtle Beach area that have made it their mission to get to the Wooden Boat Show. Says, oh, that is such a fun event. But talk about some of the events that are happening in downtown Georgetown, the historic area.
Sure. The boat show is the pinnacle. The boat show is what the rest of us aspire to be. Brings probably 27,000 people here every year. It's in October. We kick off the year with the Bridge to Bridge Run. There's an organization, a 501c3 nonprofit, Friendship Place, that puts on the Bridge to Bridge Run every year in May. When that started, and it's not that many years, maybe 10 or 12, 13, 200 or 300 runners. Last year was about 1,200. This year is expected to be a lot more than that. It has become, from what I'm told, in that world of people that travel the country to go run marathons, which is not something I would do, it has become a must-see. It's really gaining a lot of notoriety. We follow that up, and I may not have the exact schedule right, but the Food, Beer, and Wine Festival is probably the second largest festival that we do behind the boat show. It's only 4 years old. We're going into year 5, and that'll be in early May. We have multiple breweries that come, wineries that come down here to showcase their wares. We had last year 21 restaurants that participated. We closed off 4 blocks of Front Street. This year we're hoping for 25 to 30 restaurants. It's a huge event and it's a one-day festival. We have a Music in the Park series that we do 5 months through the year, once a month, where we bring in bands that everyone knows, like Chairman of the Board or the Tams, but we also bring in some more regional and local talent. Those have been very well attended over the years. We have a plantation tour of homes that's become very successful. We have a Christmas tour of homes. Our Art and Wine Walk, which is in the fall, which is, in my opinion, probably going to be one of the biggest events we see. We're only going into year 3. And the first 2 years were astronomical, surpassed every expectation that we had.
Front Street, your main street. Talk about some of the new additions that have really enhanced what it is, including the hotel, the George Hotel, which is unlike, I think, anything in the area. I'm not sure how I would compare it to anything else.
There's nothing to compare it to. Absolutely nothing. The George has been the catalyst, in my opinion, and I said that the day we started talking about the George, which was about 8 years ago. It's only been open a little over a year, so that tells you how long it takes to put something like that together. It's the catalyst for growth. It's a 56-room luxury boutique hotel. It is spectacular. The design, both on the outside and the inside, and the common areas in the rooms, the attention to detail, it's meticulous. It has an incredible restaurant called The Independent, which is just wonderful, high-end restaurant. That's been the catalyst to our growth. From the George, prior to and since, we are seeing a lot more high-end boutiques and shops and restaurants move into our historic business district. We're seeing the change from what it was 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 25 years ago, to a resurgence and something that's completely new for us now.
You're watching or listening to Georgetown, the podcast.
So let's talk about restaurants for a little bit. We don't have to pick any specific restaurant out, but my memories of coming to Georgetown 30 years ago, there weren't a lot of choices. Maybe a place to get a sandwich. Talk about all of the variety and what's here. Now, you do have some places. I discovered, for example, Thomas's Cafe, which your family ran for, would you say, 50 years?
55.
55 years.
Word I could use about our restaurants in Georgetown is variety. Within a 5-block stretch in our historic business district, there are 16 restaurants. You can get anything you want, from country cooking to high-end white tablecloth, white linen, fine dining, and everything in between. We are Charleston on a food level, just not as many restaurants. There may not be the number, but the quality is there in every one of them. And the variety is there that you will find anywhere else. You just wouldn't expect to find that here in Georgetown. We just had another one open last Wednesday. So I think that may be 17 now.
Should I make an assumption? I can look out the window and there's the water. I'm guessing we're getting some pretty fresh seafood.
Absolutely, absolutely. We unfortunately lost one of our premier seafood markets a couple of years ago. Independent seafood was a staple in Georgetown for over 80 years. The owners finally decided it was time to retire, and to the chagrin of everyone in Georgetown, because that's where you went to get your fresh seafood. But we have 3 other seafood markets here that offer seafood fresh off the boat Stormy Seas, for example, has their own boat right at their dock. So they're going to sell what they catch. So when you come to Georgetown and you eat seafood in a restaurant, you're probably eating seafood that was swimming a day or two before.
And it always tastes better, doesn't it?
Always.
What do you see 5-10 years from now in terms of, specifically in terms of restaurants? I mean, I think you've started something. If I'm looking to open up a new restaurant, gosh, it seems like this would be a place I want to go. And do you spend energy on that, finding those people and saying, here we are?
Yes, we do spend the time with that. And I will tell you this, for anyone that's watching and thinking about opening up a restaurant in Georgetown, Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, that's what we need. Just going to throw that out there. 5 years from now, Georgetown is both going to be unrecognizable but the same. And I know that's hard to comprehend maybe, but we are never going to get rid of our small town charm. We're never going to abandon our history, third oldest city in South Carolina. I've been told, and I've had this verified, I could be wrong, but I don't think so, we have more pre-revolutionary homes in the city of Georgetown than does Charleston, South Carolina, than does Williamsburg, Virginia.
Oh, wow.
So history is very important here, and that's not something we're ever going to let go of. So we're going to see redevelopment. The steel mill is being demolished as we sit here and speak. That is going to be a huge redevelopment. It has been said that that's going to be the single largest redevelopment on the eastern seaboard at the time.
Wow.
So we're going to see a big change in Georgetown, but what we're not going to see is a change in what we hold very dear.
Who are you seeing on a daily basis moving to the area? You're dealing with new businesses and people are coming. Who are you meeting?
You know, it runs the gamut. We are seeing a lot of people from Charleston that are moving here, especially to the southern part of Georgetown in the city limits. Some retirees, some people that are working remote. I'm meeting a lot of people that are actually still working in Charleston, but they love Georgetown. They want to live here. It's an easy commute. We, of course, are getting a lot of people from the north. That's never going to stop. We're partly to blame for that. I help run our marketing for the city through the Georgetown Business Association. And in the winter, we target our marketing to the northeast. And then when winter's over, we flip it back down to some other states. One of the things that I'm really excited about is we're seeing families move here. In Georgetown 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you didn't see young children in the area that I live, which is just off the historic district, in the historic district, or in any other areas of the city. Now you can drive around Georgetown and see kids riding bicycles and strollers everywhere and playing in parks. And I think that is really good news for Georgetown, because I think that's a sign of growth.
Talk a little bit about Georgetown's role in South Carolina, the state of South Carolina. Many times you'll see a lot of focus on Columbia, the upstate, because of all of the industry that's happening there. And sometimes the coastal area of South Carolina maybe doesn't get all it deserves. Place Georgetown, the city, the county, in the perspective of South Carolina.
Man, that's a good question. We're unique.
The answer to that is, it's great.
Yeah, well, it's unique.
Having lived here, I always am a little bit offended, maybe that's the wrong word, when South Carolina is talked about and it's the upstate and it's the big industries and the capital. It's like, but you know who's growing?
We are growing. And we're unique. Yes, Greenville is wonderful. Charleston is wonderful. I lived in Charleston for 30 years. I don't want to move back to Charleston. I have Charleston here in Georgetown on a smaller scale and a much slower pace, less traffic, less stress, less hassle, less everything. Same as Myrtle Beach. We're perfectly positioned between Myrtle Beach and Charleston. What we offer and what we give are everything that you see in the larger cities, but on a smaller scale and with less hassle and less stress.
I don't know if this is a bad question to ask, but I think I'm comfortable asking that in terms of moving here, living here, I don't know the traffic is big of a problem. It's certainly better than Charleston, mostly better than Myrtle Beach. Traffic hasn't been a huge issue here, has it? Not yet.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
It's getting there. Really, it is. And to be completely honest, traffic is increasing here within the city as well as even outside the city area into the county. It's a byproduct of growth. It's something we have to deal with. We, of course, are going to have to make sure we address that from infrastructure issues and topics, but Yes, the traffic in Georgetown and around Georgetown is getting significantly heavier. It's a plus or a minus, it's a good or a bad. It's a product of growth, so we'll take it.
You mentioned, and some of the other people we've talked to, more families are moving here, kids on their bikes and families in strollers. The Georgetown County schools, that's got to be exploding.
They are, and I wish I knew some statistics. I don't, but I think that's something that will probably have to be addressed here very soon if they want to be proactive, because we have houses being built all over the city. There's a 220 unit housing development going up in the city limits, just south, as if you were heading to Charleston, within the city limits. There are 3 different plantations, is what they were at one point, that are now housing developments that sat dormant since 2008 during the real estate crash, that are now exploding. Houses being built on every conceivable lot you can find. Even in the historic district, which is a little bit more difficult to find space, we are seeing some new construction in the very few areas that allow it, and we're seeing a lot of sales and renovations going on throughout the city.
Let's talk about real estate briefly, because before we started, you were telling me you've recently had a chance to look at the 2025 statistics. Georgetown is sparkling.
It is sparkling. I just received last week the 2025 housing statistics, and the ones that I receive are from a friend of mine who's a realtor that does this breakdown every year, and it's a 10-year breakdown. It breaks down City of Georgetown. It also gives categories as Pawleys Island Mainland, Pawleys Island Beach on the island, Murrells Inlet, Pawleys Island Litchfield. So it goes across the top with all of the different areas in Georgetown County. And then it goes down with the metrics. And the metrics could be the price of the homes, up or down, days on the market, more or less, all of the different metrics that go into these statistics to tell you how the housing situation is doing. And across the board, Georgetown is the only one that has positive numbers on every single metric across the board in 2025.
That's actually just dumbfounding to hear that. Not that Georgetown is doing well, it's that it's doing so much better than others. Although if you spend time in Georgetown, you kind of sense it. There is a renaissance going on here. If you could tell people, here's why we want you to move here, visit here, tell us why. Give us the heartfelt, Al Joseph, we are inviting you.
That's easy. We have it all. We have water. We are the only place on the eastern seaboard where you will find a confluence of 5 rivers into a bay with the ocean 10 miles away. Nowhere on the eastern seaboard do you find that. Very unique here. We're the 3rd oldest city in South Carolina. Our history is almost unparalleled and unmatched. 5 museums within walking distance in our historic business district. Historic walking tours, historic riding tours, boat tours that go out to our islands for shelling and lighthouse tours. Restaurants galore, shops that you can find anything that you want at any point in time. So basically what we have is everything anyone is looking for, except maybe the big city hassle, the big city stress, the big city traffic. So in my opinion, that's the best of both worlds, and we're the perfect place to be.
Al Joseph, thanks so much. The City of Georgetown Main Street Director, it's always a pleasure, and I'm sure we're going to do this again. Thank you for helping connect us with lots of other people, and I've got more ideas on how we continue to grow Georgetown, the podcast. We've got more to come today and in the future. We'll be here at the Maritime Museum, which in and of itself is something worth seeing and talking about. Georgetown, the podcast. Al, thank you so much.
Scott,
I am Scott Richards. See you next time.
Thank you for watching or listening to Georgetown, the podcast. Learn more about the Hammock Coast and Georgetown. Read Georgetown Magazine in print, pick one up around Georgetown and along the Carolina coast. Or digitally, visit readgeorgetownmag.com.